you very much.
Thank you all.
Network Waitangi Otautahi, Catherine Pete.
Kia ora koutou. I'll just introduce Kathy Duncan, a young colleague, young-ish colleague, and I'm here to respond to questions. The point of this submission is really to promote, that's fine, yes, that was an extra thing, that was the PowerPoint thing, that's fine. The point of this submission is to ask for an opportunity with the City Council to look at what we have chosen to call a new way of working. And we have experienced it in the Community Water Partnership approach, and we would love to work with it in some sort of focused way, because it is, I think it really reflects the initiative that the City Council's taken in relation to Te Kahui Kahukura and Te Honga, and I would like to just see if we can't do something to support you on this. Our problem is that often the groups that are worked within our sector, when I say our sector, I'm talking about the third sector, the NGO sector, the non-for-profit sector, the FRED sector, I don't care what we call it. And often they're referred to as community groups and community initiatives and community thises and building community and all that kind of thing, which is fine, of course. We all want building community. But there is something distinct in our sector which is happening, and that is some very thoughtful work on strategy and policy. And it's emerging all over the place, and it's coalescing. And there's a course that's being offered at the WEA, actually, which is just starting tonight on the transitions to a new society and so on. And we just know that people want to do it in relationship with tangata whenua. So we've picked on this one little hook in the LTP, which is talking about the possibility of 3 full-time equivalent staff for the Community Water Partnerships development. We've applauded the inclusion in the project of the relationship with ECAN and with Department of Conservation. And we would love to see the appropriate third sector organisations picked on too. The difficulty with using the language of community groups and supporting communities and empowering communities is that everybody's part of the community. City Council's part of the community. We want a particular attention paid to the third sector organisations that have this interest in strategy and policy, which is why Network Waitangi has been very supportive of One Voice Te Reo Kotahi, which is just a register of groups that want to work together with a commitment to a treaty-based future that's ecologically sound. I mean, that's really all it is. But it is drawing together a lot of groups in conversation and thoughtful outcomes. So we're kind of wanting to say, please fund these 3 full-time equivalent positions. We have experience of working a little bit with the Community Water Partnership, and we think it's a really good framework. But it was the only one we could find in the long-term plan to make this point about the use of the term community groups, taking time to address that, and think, please, carefully about the fact that not all groups are interested in strategy and policy. Many people are interested in providing a service or doing a little project, planting some trees, and these things are all great, we're not criticising them. But there is another bunch of people in our sector who have this capacity to, I think, support a new way of working as we move forward. And I just congratulate the City Council for starting that process with the establishment of Te Hononga. So, questions? There is another slide there. We might as well have the other one. It's quite a pretty one. Yeah, there we go. That's what One Voice does, and it's that good old interest of the state that must not be controlled by the state. Therein lies the realm of voluntary activity. It's a very ancient statement, but it's a very true statement. And so it's this bunch of people that want to work together and are working together and are learning heaps together. And we just want to contribute as a collective into the City Council.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
There's one more slide.
Oh, sorry.
I just want to have
That's what you said last time.
There we go.
Yeah.
Just for those who haven't met that before,
Yep.
the biggie for me is only 10% of these 114,000 third sector organisations in New Zealand have any paid staff at all.
Yeah.
And a lot of those are the thoughtful ones, the 90%. So it's a biggie.
It is.
Questions?
Questions?
Challenges? I've left time.
You've been very clear. Oh, Dion.
Thanks for the submission. Obviously, that partnership is very important. Just digressing a little bit more from say just the water partnership. What other opportunities do you see for the council as a wider body actually to be more involved in these partnerships, especially with tangata whenua?
Well, Leanne was at the Greater Christchurch Partnership Group yesterday meeting, and I was fascinated by the fact that Te Renanga o Ngā Tahu's got this NIWA report all ready to go and shareable. That was a great thing to find out about. And the thing is that people in our sector have been working. I'm actually doing a workshop at the National Adult and Community Education Conference on relational politics, which is a follow-up to the Mataki Mai Iwi Leaders Forum report. And basically what we're looking at is what are the challenges for organisations to start learning to work in a relational way with tangata whenua, and what are the educational things that have to be done. We're meeting with Minister Davis on Wednesday morning to further discuss the the changes in the curriculum. So we're doing some really heavy stuff in that area, and it'd be lovely to share it at a local level and kind of put it into practice. Because, you know, I often think that we do stuff at the big fat level and we don't make it work on the ground. And Network Waitangi Otautahi has always taken the view that we need to do it on the ground. So we've been doing it in the NGOs, because the statutory sector has got, I'll say it is, as I usually do, but you know, the statutory sector has got bogged down with a lot of legal substitutes for treaty relationships. So we've got a lot of this treaty principle stuff. We've got this biculturalism stuff. And I mean, you know, bicultural just means two cultures. We should really be talking about the relationship between the Indigenous people and everyone else as a bilateral arrangement. There's a whole lot of language that we're working on with Minister Davis at the moment, because if you are not Pākehā or Māori, that word bicultural can make you feel quite invisible. And it's well meant. I mean, I'm not people actually, it's really shorthand for the treaty. But why don't we get better at using the right language? But the people who can do that fastest are in our sector, because governments have got, you know, all that statutory stuff to deal with. It's like when Helen Clark, bless her cotton socks, changed the reference to the treaty in health policy, and she thought she was doing a good job. I growled at her then, and I'll still keep growling at her. That she said, let's talk about partnership, protection, and participation. Well, as a Māori elder said to me not so long ago, actually, I don't want it to be called a partnership. It's a relationship. Let's look at who's got the power, whose language are we speaking, for example. You know, partnership is another slick word. Protection, he said, no thanks. Participation, not sure anymore, actually. You know, I mean, so there are some issues around partnership, protection, participation as a substitute for that expression by tangata whenua to invite us all to share the land. Now, the multicultural strategy is taking it to Minister Davis, Christchurch Multicultural Strategy, because that foreword that we've got, Jimmy, actually says that at first the land welcomed the first people, and then the people welcomed the next lot, and then the job of this people here is to welcome new migrants, all in the spirit of manaakitanga and kaitiakitanga. There's just so much that we're doing all the time in the third sector, which kind of, I feel, is not communicating with my city council, or that's what I'd like to do, so that we can actually try and make it real in it. And we have to start small. We have to do a project, and we've picked on this one because we know we've been part of it, and we know that there's some good people there. So
Excellent. Well, thank you. That was that was great. Well done. And you've taken us right to the end of your submission, so thank you.